Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here, and we got a list of 20 homes today in Milton Daily Homes. So let's get right to today's list because once we hit 20, it can be a little tough to get them all in. 369.9 will get you this one on Dills, and it's a semi-detached, mostly siding on the outside. The thing about Dills, if you go on a street view of this one, everything is very narrow. There's semis, there's detached, there's link where they're actually linked by the foundation, but they look like they're detached. But everything is very, very choppy here. Inside the home, basically you have one big room, and then that leads into the kitchen. It's a little hard to tell from some of the photos how everything interacts, but that's the back of the house, the kitchen with the eat-in. And yeah, I don't know if the pictures do it a lot of justice. They're looking for November 30th of 2012, and we know when we see that kind of date that generally there's a next step involved for the seller. So solving that problem for them may benefit you in other ways. So Baverstock is 379.9. It's a croft side, like 1380 square feet. It's an end unit. It's all brick. So right away you've got two value features right off the top. Very well put together inside. I think there's a lot of nice upgrades here. The staircase is one of the first things you see in the home, so having the ability to present that as a feature is a good thing with the iron pickets. Things on top of cabinets and fridges never look good, and I talk about that a lot in real estate photography, so it's better just to take that stuff down. There's two full bathrooms upstairs. The master has an ensuite, and then you also have the other full bathroom. So I think behind here what you're looking at is the Patterson farm here, which eventually is going to be converted to other homes. So just know you're probably going to have some construction behind here, but maybe for the time being you're okay in terms of not having anyone behind you. So 379 isn't too bad. Usually when we see these models selling for that price, they have a finished basement, but this one might be good enough inside that someone may be convinced. So Kavanaugh is 392. We're looking at a 1,500 square foot home, no appliances, so you want to budget that in, no hardwood. So right off the bat, if you put appliances in hardwood, you're up to 400 anyways. And do these models sell for 4? It's getting harder and harder to see that happen in the spring. Yeah, sure, no problem, but it's a little harder with this time of year in the fall. I think we used up a lot of the sales from the whole year in the first half, so it's still a good market out there. But what I always say to people is it's like going from 200 kilometers an hour to 100 kilometers an hour, and 100 probably feels really slow, but that's the speed of traffic. That's actually what's posted. So Lavery is the next one here at 398.5, and it's about 1,650 square feet. You've got beautiful hardwood floors here. I love the colors. I talked about this a couple weeks ago about how injecting some color into these homes can have a huge magical effect, and versus a lot of these homes are just the builder primer. You've got some real character in here, great looking backsplash, all the color choices that I think most buyers, and I think the crowd for this is definitely a young family that they would really want. Even upgrades around the mirrors and beautiful stuff. So you've got aggregate on the front and back. You have an entrance through your garage, so that's a direct access from the garage that goes into the kitchen, and the advantage with that is that you're not tugging your lawnmower through the backyards of other homes, whereas with some of the Mattamy townhouses, including that one on Baverstock that we just profiled, you actually have to enter there's something in the land titles that indicates that you're allowed to bring your lawnmower through. There's a little right of way on the back part of the property, so even though they're freehold homes, you still have a land right to access yours, whereas with this one you don't even have to worry about it. It's a townhouse, but you can directly access your own backyard. And very nice stuff. It's up in the Milton Trail subdivision, and it's nice and new, and it's completely ready to move in. So that's a great listing right there. And Wedham Heights is 419.9, 1,500 square foot semi-detached, and so you've got some pot lights in here. And in the kitchen, you look at some of the stuff in the kitchen, you've got an upgraded faucet, an upgraded, like all the light fixtures are upgraded. There comes a certain point in your upgrading and your finishes where you sit there and say, is it better to put stainless steel appliances? Now, some people prefer white appliances. I get the fingerprints and everything like that. I understand that. But what buyers tend to be excited about, let's put it this way, you don't see many white appliances in model homes. So that's all it comes down to, really. If you're trying to get closer to model home, then you take them out. And they may be perfectly functional. You could probably get rid of them on Craigslist for $500. If you invested even $2,000 or $2,500, you found a good deal on stainless steel appliances. In almost every case, it's going to pay off. It's either going to break even and make your life easier to sell, or you're going to profit from that decision. So anyways, I look at this and I go, man, what a different impression it would have made with just a little bit different appliances. And I've had homes that haven't sold because of the appliances, and we change them up a week later, it's sold. It's an amazing thing. It's just the kitchen is such an important part of the whole process, but everything else in the home looks terrific, and even some of the wainscoting and some of the chair rails and stuff like that up in the bedrooms. Now $419 for this one without a finished basement is still pushing the bar a little bit, and what we're seeing, you'll see this in today's episode, there's some good deals at $450 for detached homes. So the 420 semis that are smaller, it's a tough game for those guys. Dalglesh is 429.8, about 1,900 square feet, and there's this one, there's the next one that's, I don't understand this shot. Hey, look, we got 2 doors, so buy our house. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that this is Milton Trails as well. For me, the semis at 430 that are just relatively big, I don't know if that's enough anymore. 429 is this one here on Fasken. You've got this protruding front, but what it gives you is actually the 4th bedroom, and it gives you an office here too. So handy for people that need a home office, especially on the main floor with lots of light coming in. That's your dining room, and then you get into family kitchen. What somebody could do with this kitchen with a relatively small investment, I would say probably if you had $1,500, let's say, you could probably get someone to professionally refinish these cabinets, make them a cream or a dark color. You could get a new countertop in here, and let's just say $2,000. We'll change the backsplash up too, and you've got a very impressive looking kitchen with very little cost. But people don't see that. They don't see the potential. They often just look at what's there. This is kind of a strange shot because I've always seen pillows as belonging on the bed instead of beside the bed. But anyways, that's not a big deal. I don't think that's why someone wouldn't buy this house. About 2,000 square feet. I could see it. I could see somebody stepping up with an offer, but it would be against my advice if I was working with them. When you look at something like this on Monaghan, 1,835 square feet, fully detached home, $455 is the price. You do have that front little room, which comes in very handy again for a home office, and plus a dining, and then you've got family, and in the kitchen you've got a pantry just off to the side, and you've got some upgraded floors upstairs too. So that's good money for this home. I mean, there was a time even less than a year ago where this one, $475, would have probably sold it. But there's just been a lot of competition for some of these detached single garage. $464.9 is this one on Watson here. 1,742 square feet. You've got nice looking floors. You've got California shutters. There was one on Archerway that came out, and same price as this one. I don't think it looked as nice. The floors weren't as dark. I don't think there were as many upgrades. These light fixtures, little things like that with this one. Anyways, same price with the finished basement. This one also has it, and they're sold condition already within a week or two. So at this price, these guys are probably not going to last very long. The nice thing about this model is a lot of people widen the driveway because you're not having anything protrude out in the front. So the rest of the house is actually flush or behind the garage. So it gives you opportunity potentially to park 2 cars side by side. And Watson is a really quiet, nice street. So that's a well-priced home right there. There's a big laundry room upstairs too. So, if you like the upstairs laundry, there's a lot of cabinets. It looks really good. BD is 1,900 square feet, $474.9. We don't have a lot of information. One of the things I look at with the Pell model that has a huge effect, 9-foot ceilings. And there's a couple models that if you look at it, you wouldn't even be able to tell them apart because they're so different with 8 and 9-foot ceilings. This, for me, is one of them. 9-foot ceilings definitely changes this model. I'll have to see what happens, though. I don't have any pictures. Savaline is $479. More than 2,000 square feet with 4 bedrooms and a double garage at $479. It's incredible to me. I think this is a great deal. I've seen them sell 510, 520 not that long ago. So 479, part of it is that it doesn't have that many upgrades inside. And people talk about the staggered garage. So if we were to move a garage forward, you lose a driveway space, but you gain inside space. And so this one allows you to have a really nice floor plan here. It allows you to put the staircase. Plus, you've got a dining room, kitchen with an eat-in, and a family room. So there's a lot of space in here. I really like the layout of this one. Again, changing out the backsplash. There'd be a couple things that someone would want to do, and that's part of the reason why it's priced where it is. But I think that this is a hot deal, and someone's going to jump all over it pretty quick. Cox is $559. It's a back split, and yeah, well decorated. I think the kitchen looks good, and you've got some pot lights, some California shutters here. There's the finished area, so it looks like a move-in ready old Milton house, and that's always a good thing. 50 by 120 foot lot. I looked at the Clover Park one last night, 50 by 100, and the yards actually don't appear to be that much bigger than a lot of the new Milton stuff, but you get that extra 20 feet, 50 by 120 versus 100 has a huge effect. So good looking backyard, double garage, all brick. It's going to attract attention for sure. January 31st is the date they quote, so that's always a date to keep in mind that the sellers are looking for. Whaley Way, 569, upland model, 2,300 square feet, and you either like these ones or they're just not your thing. The split level where you got a couple stairs up, a couple stairs down. The family room upstairs tends to be more open to the bedrooms, so if you're really making a lot of noise and you've got light sleepers, it can cause some friction. Kitchen looks great. You've got granite countertops. You've got good color matches, crown moldings, double sink in the ensuite, and some nice landscaping in the front and back. 569. We've got one of these that's a little bit bigger on Tenelli at 509. So you really have to justify if you're these guys. We're 100 and something square feet less, and we're priced 60,000 more than that one. So these guys will have their work cut out for them in that sense. Parkway, saw this one last night. It's basically land value. I mean, it's $575 for one of the best areas in Milton. I mean, if you drive around here, it's a treat to see some of these homes. 90 by 173 foot property. There may be an opportunity in the future where you cut this one up. Probably not, because most of the homes are on these big estate lots. But anyhow, thinking outside the box, could you put 2 homes on here eventually? I don't know. Don't take that as gospel. You'd want to check that out. Inside, you've got, yeah, it's old, like it's wood paneling. It's, here's the thing. This was an interesting conversation I had with our clients. And beautiful lot and trees, and that's the pathway that goes across the bridge, and it goes down to commercial. We look at this, and someone would be really happy to live in a home like this, even though it doesn't have the fancy stainless steel and everything else. On the tail end of Thanksgiving, for us to sit there and say, hey, you know what? The house isn't perfect. That's okay, because ultimately it's a roof over your head. And could somebody live in this home? Possibly, right? I mean, it's not fancy. Doesn't have all the want-to-haves, but it's something that, to be honest, someone's probably going to knock it down. But it's an interesting conversation that you look at. We talk about silly things like appliances, and they do help sell a house. But in the big picture, I mean, we're all fortunate to even be looking at homes that are priced at $300,000, $400,000, $800,000. So anyways, this one is, we've seen a couple of the homes on Ontario that are basically land value sell for around 6. On the other side of Ontario, there's been some big sales that haven't been published, and so at $575, I mean, someone's probably just going to take this one, build a home, $150 a square foot, probably spend $1 million to do it, and be left with a pretty amazing property. So anyhow, next one up is Duff Crescent, 578, and you're looking at 4 bedrooms, decent looking kitchen here, but we don't have anything else. There's no other photos, so it's hard to tell. There's no specific measurement about this one. Interesting little comment here, relocation special. I don't know if that's something you'd want to publish. That's another conversation that you can have. Is it better to tell the truth and be honest and upfront with buyers, or is it better to hide the intentions and just pretend that the home is going to stand on its own? Yeah, I think there's arguments for both sides. Farmstead is 579.5, and it's 2,300 square feet. It's a very impressive looking home inside. There is a very good looking home at 569 right now that has very similar upgrades, and there was one on Cochrane that sold with stone and stucco on the outside, and we're looking at that one sold maybe a month or two ago, and it was in the 530s, and it was still pretty good. It wasn't playing at this level, but I mean, you still have to look at that and say how much more are you getting compared to something that's sold at that price. Vickerman, $599. You're getting a 40 by 100 foot lot, which is bigger than some of the old Milton stuff. A little bit plain inside, and you're getting it backing onto green space as well. Glass shower, double sink. So I think you could work with this template. That's a pool-sized lot right there. I think you could work with it and really make it your own. Dalgleish or Dalgleish, I don't know how to say it, 619. The thing about this one is you're only really getting this big area here, and they've done it very well. They've done a lot of upgrades in here, and your kitchen. That's it. So there's no family room plus a dining room. They've combined them together in one big room. It looks great. It looks beautiful. The baseboards have been upgraded in the master. So move-in ready is always going to command a premium. The finished basement is a nice thing. They've got the dark ceilings for that home theater effect, and it's just not a particularly large home. I would put this one probably at no more than maybe 2,200 square feet plus the finished basement. They're really selling on upgrades at $619. Gowland is $659. That classic old Milton look. I would say if you surveyed a lot of the agents in town, Gowland would certainly be in their top 5 list for old Milton in terms of desirability of streets. A beautiful street, nice big trees, and so you're looking at upgraded home inside. We haven't had many of these upgraded homes in a while. We had a couple through the first part of the year. Some of them sold for $620, $630, so $659 I think will be a bit of a battle. I'm 6'4". I probably wouldn't have as much of an issue with that cabinet there, or that microwave there. But some people might really look at that and go, "Hey, I use the microwave every day. I use my stove once a week." That would be a tricky one for some people. It's a beautiful open concept kitchen, though. They've really opened this one up. Lots of pot lights here, and not many shots of the upstairs or the finished basement. It's a 55 by 115 foot lot. It's a beautiful house and a great street, and they should get a premium for that street, and we'll see what happens. I'm very interested in what will happen with that. Wettlaufer is $679, 3,200 square feet. One of my favorite models. We talked about the protruding front here. That gives you a separate living room plus a separate den upstairs. So you come in the front door, you've got French doors into that front room, perfect for a home office. Hardwood staircase leading up to the den. There's your dining. You have a bit of a pass through there, a two-sided fireplace. I've heard that these tiles are not the prettiest tiles from people who have been in this home, but it's one of my favorite floor plans. I think it's terrific. It's backing onto green space, so there's probably $20,000 to $30,000 in value there. And does this home at a more basic level sell for around $640? Yeah, it could. I don't think it's that far off. It's got the good elevation with the stucco and the stone. And yeah, overall, I think even if somebody had to rip the tiles out, it could be an opportunity for someone to get in there at the right price and end up with a beautiful floor plan, great street, great location backing onto green space. So that was the list. I know it was a long list, and if you have any questions, if you want to see anything in this list or anything on the side there, let us know. We'll get you in, and we'll keep you safe. Okay, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.